that's projectile motion. Are we good with that? Now, we need to distinguish between three things. We need to distinguish between things. The following, let's assume my V initial was 3 meters per second. So we shot the physics professor right there at velocity initial of 3 meters per second. Let's assume you shot him at an angle of, let's say, 30 degrees. Could you tell me what is Vx initial and what is Vy initial? So there's a difference between V initial, Vx initial, and Vy initial. V initial is the velocity in both x and y direction. Vx initial is the velocity in the x direction. Vy initial is the velocity in the y direction. Okay? So this is Vx, this is Vy.
When you take this, the trigonometry of that, the
Yeah.
velocity?
Since Vx is adjacent to 30, I would say that Vx equals initial is going to be equal to V initial, and Vy initial is going to equal to V initial, and I have to pick sine and cosine. Now let's look at 30 degrees. Is 30 degrees adjacent to the x-axis or to the y-axis? X-axis. So it's near the x-axis. And adjacent should remind you of which trigonometry function? Cosine. So the x is going to get cosine 30. This is going to get sine 30. Now in Lessing's universe, what are the signs?
Up is negative, down is positive, then right is positive, left is negative.
Cool. So according to Blessing, is Vx positive or negative?
Oh, positive.
Positive. And Vy, is it positive or negative?
Negative.
Negative.
If you don't like Blessing universe, don't ignore it. Just put here plus, here minus. And everything we do here, just take the opposite of it. Make yourself feel better. But, good. And can I find numbers for these? Sure. 42, unless somebody have a number for it.
2.60 square.
2.60.
And the other one is negative 1.5.
Good. Now, assuming this building is about, what do you guys think? How many yards? How many feet? 30?
Yeah,
15
like,
yards.
just not enough to kill you, but maybe 30.
9.
9
We still
meters?
need you.
9 meters?
Yeah.
That's about 30 feet or so.
That'll probably kill him.
What?
That'll probably kill you.
Yeah.
They were trying to not kill you.
Oh, they're trying to be nice?
Yeah, they said
Okay.
they kind of still use you.
Yeah, like 2 meters?
Yes.
Well, thank you. How about 6
Show me
feet?
kindness.
I'll just broken jaw or something. It's like a roll. It's like a roll. Can we find how long will it take me to reach the ground? What are we looking for?
X.
How long does it take me? Not how far.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's okay. So we need something with time. This has time, this has time, this has time, and this has time. You go to the first one, do you know the final velocity of your physics professor?
No.
It's not 0?
No.
No, why not?
Because you hit the ground.
Yeah, if I had 0 velocity when I hit the ground, I will hover, and all your schemes will be foiled. So you don't know the final velocity here. We don't know the final velocity or the time, 2 unknowns. Let's go to the left. Do we know how high the building is?
Yeah.
Do we know the initial velocity in the y direction? do we know that gravitational acceleration?
Yes.
The only thing missing here is time, so I'm gonna use that equation. That equation would be y equals E y initial t plus 1/2 g squared. And now, what is y?
2 meters.
2 meters. Is it 2 meters or is it this distance? Why is it 2 meters?
Because you're
'Cause that's what
factoring
we
in your
said.
initial velocity too.
Because y is what we call displacement, not distance. What is displacement? Distance traveled from where you started to where you finished. Where did I start? Where did I finish?
Which means it's going down, which is negative.
According to Lessing, it's,
Positive.
yeah, but according to you, it could be negative. It's your universe. Who cares, right? So based on that, that would be 2 and positive. Vy initial is gonna be what? Negative 1.5 multiplied by t plus 1/2, 9.8. Positive or negative?
Positive. Positive.
According to Lessing's universe, anything pointing down is?
Positive. No, it's positive.
That was throwing everybody off.
If you're using convention, this would be positive, this would be negative, and this would be negative. Cool? Who cares what units? You're gonna get the same answer. Now I have a quadratic equation with t, which reads as 4.9 t squared minus 1.5 t minus 2 equals 0. A is 4.9, B is negative 1.5, and C is negative 2. You would solve this and get anybody? Smart calculator? Anyway. We will get 2 answers. And they are
Getting there.
And negative 503.
negative 503,
0.503.
0.50. So if we look at these 2 answers, we have 2 answers. One of them does not make any sense, the negative time. So